Well, our I-team has uncovered how Arizona's education voucher program has largely helped the rich and hurt high-performing school districts right here in the Valley.
So now Craig Harris has found several $1 million in empowerment scholarship, ESAs, that's what they call them. They're now flowing to a very tiny community with a pretty infamous reputation.
Most anyone who's lived in Arizona knows about Colorado City. It's one of the most beautiful parts of the state, but it has had a checkered past. Now the community has become ground zero for vouchers. Colorado City is nestled on the Arizona Strip with neighboring Utah to the north. The small town is known for its connection to Mormon fundamentalists. Yet there is now a much different issue facing this community. It's Arizona's education experiment, vouchers.
We only have 600 students currently in our district, and we have 2 schools. We lost about 40 in our high school last year, and we lost another 40 to 50 in our elementary this year.
Meet Carol Timpson. She's the superintendent of the Colorado City Unified School District. While her district lost close to 100 kids to ESAs, that's a fraction of the total amount using vouchers. The 12 News I-team found Colorado City in zip code 86021 has one of the highest percentages, nearly 61%, of homes in Arizona that get empowerment scholarships. The I-team found there were 476 students out of 783 homes using vouchers. That's more than 1 out of every 2 homes. A typical voucher is between $7,000 and $8,000. It can exceed $40,000 for special needs kids. That translates into more than $3 million in tax dollars going to Colorado City for private or homeschooling vouchers. One of the biggest winners is Deseret Academy. 3 brothers who were teachers in Colorado City Unified Schools started the private school in fall 2022. That's just after then Governor Doug Ducey signed into law the state's universal voucher program, giving everyone, regardless of income, a voucher.
We wanted the rigor of the public system with the safety of morality that a homeschool brings, and we make those worlds come together. This ESA program has been a godsend for that. None of these parents would be able to have that. We wouldn't even have created the school were it not for that program.
That's Alex Barlow and his brother Charles. The other sibling is Cephas. They opened Deseret Academy with 17 kids 3 years ago. This past school year, it had 117 from 1st through 10th grade. The brothers are certified teachers and all teach here. They said they use the same state testing standards as the school district, and they offer unique classes like sewing, construction, and Bible.
It kind of goes in tandem with the culture of everyone that we are teaching around this area, but it also is kind of going back to a traditional style of teaching, whereas back in, it seems like around the 50s era, you could say that God is this and that in school system and no one would bat an eye.
They say tuition is about the same as a typical ESA scholarship. Public records obtained by 12 News show ESA payments to Deseret Academy have gone from about $106,000 a year to over $820,000. Timpson, the school superintendent, said Colorado City schools this past year lost over $900,000 because students left for vouchers. However, she expects many will come back because of the programs her schools have to offer.
I know I'm going to get a significant return to school at some point, and I'm trying to gear up. When we had students coming in from the homeschool before, that's what mother after mother after mother said. I just had to put them back in school because I couldn't get them to do their work. It's really nice to have outside people to help you with that.
The superintendent also told me that if more students leave because of vouchers, she will have to revert to layoffs and consolidate all the kids into one building. I'm Craig Harris, 12 News.
Unbelievable reporting. We've got Craig Harris in studio now to talk with us about these findings in Colorado City. And it first blipped up on your radar because you saw the report of how much money was going straight to that city?
Well, yeah, so what we did is we took 2 sets of data. We took census data and we combined it with data from the Department of Education to find out where all the money was going, and we put those together, and that's what popped out, that was apparently one of the highest areas where communities are getting vouchers in certain zip code areas. Earlier, we found that by using that data, we found that vouchers are primarily going to help wealthy communities, and so we used the similar data to find this.
Does the reputation of that town or what that town has been known for, I mean, I've gone up there a few times now to cover just how they're trying to revamp the town. I mean, it was known for polygamy.
Right.
Warren Jeffs was there. His compound is still standing there. And they had such a tight control of education in that community. Is any of that coming into play at all in this?
That's a very sensitive subject, and that's something that the superintendent, Carol Timpson, who's been there a very long time, and the brothers I talked to, the Barlow brothers, they didn't really want to talk about that. Both of them seem they kind of want to move ahead. And interestingly, they have a very good relationship. The three brothers used to be public school teachers, and they've left. And they also told me that they're allowed to have their kids go use the library at the district school. So I think they're trying to partner, because, you know, it doesn't do any good for kids to have these fights. And so those folks have a pretty good relationship. The superintendent is more concerned about a lot of these homeschool families that have taken the vouchers and whether they're properly teaching the kids or not.
And this is what I think we all need to recognize, is that this is $7,000 to $8,000 per student that they're getting per year. And that money is directly coming out of public school funding. Like, it's all one big pot, isn't it?
Absolutely. So yeah, it's one big pot, and it's going to be $1 billion this year. And there's there's about 90,000 some kids that are in this program. So less than about 1/10 of all students in the entire state are taking $1 billion of state taxpayer dollars.
Tell me how we can come to grips with that. Like, I'm trying not to get so frustrated, but this is unbelievable. Personally, our school is losing a number of teachers and aides because of funding. And I go to one of the largest schools in Mesa Public Schools. It's unbelievable that we are spending this much money on a program that honestly at this point feels very broken.
Well, the issue is that Republicans gained more seats in the last election, and so they felt they have a mandate, and they're very much in favor of this at the legislature. Governor Hobbs is not, and she's tried to put controls in all 3 years that she's been in office, and that has been rebuffed by the legislature.
It just doesn't seem like it's working, does it?
Well, some could argue that way, but folks who are in the legislature that are in control would say, hey, they're taxpayers. They've paid their taxes. They should get something for their money. But the question comes down is, should that kind of amount of money be going right into someone's family to buy things we've talked about in the past, like pianos or expensive instruments, or going to dance lessons?
And listen, yes, you should have the option. If you want to have your kids learn the way that you want, then great. But for us to be funding it, and then for us who go to public schools to just feel like we are getting the short end of the stick time and time again, it just feels such a backwards situation that we're all in.
Well,
so how do we rectify it?
Well, it's going to have to happen that you either have to vote people into office who think like you, or people who want to have vouchers vote for people like that to keep them in office. And it's come down to the legislature. The legislature is crafting a budget right now for the next school year, and they're negotiating on ESAs, they're negotiating on vouchers right now. So if you want to make an influence on that, you should find out who your local legislator is. You can go online and look that up, and you should contact that person, let them know how you feel, because they're going to be voting on a budget. And part of the plan is the Republicans want to put ESAs as part of a big school choice issue on the ballot either this year or next year. And they want to tie that to teacher raises in district schools. So it's kind of a 2-for-1. So it's a bit of a poison pill for some folks. If they vote for it, they'll get the teacher raises, but on the other hand, they would put vouchers and charter schools and a lot of other choice issues into the Constitution.
You're talking a little bit about voting. I mean, this seems to have also just kind of created a little bit of a rift within the Republican Party as well, right? You have Kimberly Yee who's running, and then you have Tom Horn, and they kind of seem at odds on how this is actually being implemented as well. It seemed like Tom Horn is really trying to put some constraints on it, like people abusing it, and then they don't seem to be matching up.
No, and it's really a curious fight because Tom Horn is never considered to be a liberal, but he's being attacked by the far right in the party for actually putting some controls by saying, like we had a story before, by saying, no, we're not going to give your family a $16,000 cello, you know, or we're going to rein that in. And you have folks who are some folks on the far right, a small group of parents who are like, it's our money, we can do whatever we want with it. And Kimberly Yee is in that camp where she's like, it's their money, they can spend it however they want.
What did she say? I know that you had a conversation.
You talked to her directly.
Yeah, you
Yes.
talked to her directly, and you tried to pinpoint her on like the $16,000 cello. Her response was I thought was a little interesting. She just
Well, because it was incorrect, because she said that there was a way that she couldn't see exactly, but then you showed us exactly how you can see where this money is going.
You can exactly see where it's going. And
Come on,
some
Craig.
of the data that we've got that we were able to do with this story came from the Department of Education that showed how much money was going to Deseret Academy. And Kimberly Yee has all those records. She's refusing to give those records. We're in a fight. We're in a little bit of a legal fight with her right now, and we're trying to get more details and more records because, frankly, it's taxpayer money, and people should know where that money is going.
I mean, to not care about this story is just, honestly, at this point, it's insane, because when you look at our numbers and where we rank in the nation, how we are failing our kids right now, when you look at where we rank in the nation and where our public schools are at, more people need to get involved. And your reporting, honestly, it's necessary. Like, I can't even tell you how vital it is. And I'm so thankful that it feels like 12 News is finally investing in this story, because we need it.
Well, thanks.
We need to make a change. We have to.
Yeah. Can you give us a little tidbit of what's coming up?
Well, now we're like I said, we're in a bit of a little fight right now with the Treasurer's Office trying to get more details. We've gotten details from the Department of Education that show where the money's gone the last 3 years to private schools or to maybe some vendors. But what we're really fighting for right now is to get data of money that went directly to parents and how they paid. So a few years ago, we found out that over $1 million was spent on Legos. And after that came out,
Legos.
Over $1 million was spent on Legos to help families buy. And a lot of these were high-end, expensive Cadillac Lego packages.
Yes.
And Kimberly Yee's office has shut that down. She will not release the data to show how tax dollars are being spent for individual purchases, and that's something we're fighting for right now. We're trying to get that to let the public know where their tax dollars are going.
And here we are, last in the nation when it comes to public schools, and we're talking about Legos. Craig, thank you so much. I mean, we're going to stay on this story thanks to you, so we're so lucky to have you.
And you can watch all of Craig's investigative stories on the state's ESA program. It's streaming right now here on 12 Plus, or you can find it on our website as well, 12news.com/investigate. There are some fascinating stories on there.